we talk about the things we did this week. On the road, on the road, on the road. Welcome to the On the Road episode.
Yep, that's good. Hey, this is the Two Hippies, One Drunk on the Road edition. We're coming to you live from Mebane, North Carolina. and this
Let
week,
me see this word. Mebane. You're right. That's a difficult one to pronounce. Mebane, maybe.
Some town in North Carolina. And this week we'll be covering our time in Williamsburg, Fredericksburg, and Charlottesville. As always, as we start these off, the other thing is we appreciate all the support. We actually had one of our biggest month yet last month on the podcast. So thank you so much. You guys are listening to all the variations of the show we do, which is really cool. Subscribing, if you haven't actually subscribed, but you just listen, subscribing is great. Leaving reviews on iTunes and Spotify is awesome. Also on our Facebook page, the Two Hippies, One Drunk, or Instagram, by the way, but Facebook page is sharing like the little videos we make and stuff like that. Tyler's art. And remember, Scott does the tarot card readings for money as well. Those are all very, very good ways to support the show. Sharing the stuff does it without even spending any money. You don't have to spend any money to help us, but sharing those gets stuff, algorithms and whatnot up. So thank you so much. We're going to be talking about, as I said, these cities, but we are going to start with, we left the Outer Banks the last time. We left the Outer Banks out of the last episode we did, even though we were in Williamsburg already. And we did two things there in that area that were pretty cool. One being a shipwreck museum. And so I don't know if you guys wanted to say anything about that.
I thought it was dope. It looked like an ark. We talked about that when we showed up there because it's like in the shape of a boat. Like the outside of it was in the shape of a boat. I thought that was cool.
And like really, and he's right. Like and it's hard to explain, but like not that doesn't do it justice. You'd have to see a picture to really do it justice. Like they had like a wood, like a banister that was shaped like a boat. Like the whole building was
like the outs, like the shell of a boat.
Yeah.
No, I'm a big museum enthusiast, and like this is one of the coolest museums I've ever been to be honest. Because really like you were saying that was awesome. It was weirdly, I mean, this place is pretty isolated. I guess the people there do have a lot of money, so I'm sure that factors in. But like, this is normally you find really good museums inside of like a big city or something like that. This was way out in the middle of nowhere, and they had like legit artifacts. Like they had artifacts from the Titanic there.
Yeah, correct. And you could tell they were still like they had a room where you could look in that they were very clearly still working on like preserving things and whatnot. Like
that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Is like they had a big wall that was just a window into their workspace where they like fucking.
Did you hear what I just did?
What?
In my mind, you guys, I have done karaoke with you guys too much.
Yeah,
because you said there was a big wall. And then there was a window.
Yes,
and
that was a window.
But you know what I'm saying?
Your mind immediately
to the
went
window, to the wall.
I dropped down my balls.
That's what dropped down my balls.
I literally just said it to myself while you were describing it because you said there was this big wall and then a window. But
yes,
anyway.
The window to the wall. They were doing a bunch of archaeology. That's pretty much where that song goes.
They were quietly cleaning artifacts.
Yeah, that song gets way less cool when that's what's behind the window wall.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to see an archaeologist rap, and I don't want to see Little John do archaeology.
Okay,
so everybody's doing what they should be doing.
You guys too remember, man, this blew me away. These child soldiers they had in there, that like display case with like a little kid with a gun. And just dressed up in little soldier outfits. And apparently, like, yeah, they had child soldiers down there.
I wish I would have looked into it more because I still feel like probably they were not really in the army or something. Like, but I don't know. But having said that, famously in those days, though, they did have the drummer boys that were literally right out front, marching a little drum to the right. So,
I mean, based on what they put in the museum on the plaque. Yes, but I believe what it was is like, because we were kind of talking about this when we were there. Like, there are places in the Congo and stuff where you can have like child soldier units, like where it's like a group of children being led usually by a teenager or an adult man, and they're an army unit. And you're not gonna get that in the U.S. We're all pretty positive. That did not happen during the Civil War. But what I think did happen was that there was like ships with children on them that got involved in the war. And it's like, hey, bud, you're here. Time to grab a gun.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. They had uniforms for them though. They were prepared.
I just wish.
Yeah,
I know.
a little bit.
I just wish I would have maybe
Looked
found more
into it
information
more.
about it, just because I don't know the situation. But it was weird.
It was weird seeing a mannequin dressed up with a gun.
No, I
Like,
agree.
that
I
was
know what you're
weird. I've
saying.
never seen that in my life.
I know.
Until we went to this. I'm sure a bunch of like kids are on these ships, like Scott was saying.
Right. By the way, I wonder how this dude, or guy or girl, I assume he's a guy.
Cheers from Germany.
But this is probably the same person that has referenced shaving his head and this and that.
It is 100% the same person.
Yep.
Our German listener, Parzival.
I'm so curious how he stumbled upon us. And at some point, he's here. He's commented regularly. So it's not like this is one time. So
no, this is his favorite show.
Right. We are international. Anyway.
Yeah, coming to you from Germany.
Oh, and by the way, I didn't mention this at the beginning. I know these guys don't care, but I have to do it out of my need to be. I'm very superstitious. So for the third episode in a row, I will mention I'm wearing my unwashed Michigan hoodie, ready for the game tonight.
Yes,
I do not expect them to win, but that's what I've said every time, and that's why I'm doing it, and that's why I'm saying that. I have to, or else it won't happen. And even if it doesn't happen, I don't know how to explain that. But anyway, moving on. Did you have anything else from the Shipwreck Museum? Either of you wanted to say? It was very cool.
It was really cool. I thought honestly, like the way the building kind of looked, I knew there was probably more to it, but the front room was where I thought all the stuff was. Honestly, like the room you walk in, and then it gets way bigger when you go inside the actual area.
Yeah,
but I thought that we were done pretty much like 15 minutes in.
Yeah, I would say like what Scott said. There was a lot of cool
free,
right?
By the way,
well, I paid some money, but there was a lot. I threw him some money. We donations. I threw him like $10 for 3 of us. But anyway. But having said that, it was free. You didn't have to pay. I just felt like we should.
Yeah.
But
it is free. Though.
Scott mentioned it already. Honestly, the fact that a little place like this, it was a very nice building. I don't mean it like that. But it was out on the lower of this Outer Banks. You had to there was a ferry right there where you had to get to other parts of the inland and whatnot. And so for them to, for example, have some things from the Titanic is impressive. I mean, in itself. And there was plenty of other stuff there. Plenty of really other cool artifacts, but
yeah, a ton of stuff they were talking about, like Blackbeard and like other stuff too. So if you're interested in any of that, check it out. Do you remember? What it's
drive
called?
Deep into the Outer Banks of North Carolina.
Yeah, if you're there,
check it out.
I highly suggest it.
And then
stay at that KOA because it's fucking dope.
Right, there's a KOA in the Outer Banks that is bad, and we stayed in a nicer. Nice like kind of thing. That wasn't that expensive though. Like it was very nice for a price. But honestly, even if you had one of the little cabins or if you had an RV, it'd be fine.
It'd be awesome.
Some of them were literally me and Tyler thought it was some of them. I think we thought the most beautiful sunsets we've seen on this trip.
Oh, hands down,
including Hawaii. Honestly.
Definitely my profile picture.
Right. So, I mean, very cool. Now the interesting thing is the next two kind of things we're going to get into are weird for me because I saw these things as a kid. And so it's kind of funny on my part that I was like going back to these things that I think I went to about 20 years ago or so. And one being Kitty Hawk, which is the place where the Wright brothers had their first flight. And I think that one thing I'm going to say is one, both these guys really enjoyed that. So I'm going to let them talk about that.
Yes.
But two, one thing that Scott said I noticed while we were doing these things, and it didn't shock me because my family used to go on a lot of these historical trips, but it seemed really shocking to Scott. Like he's like, we go to these places and there's people there all the time. And I'm not saying you didn't think no one would be there, but like, I think you were like middle of the week, there's legit people at these national landmarks and whatnot.
I mean, 50 people at any given time in probably the slowest
time of what would be the year.
Yeah, exactly. It was awesome. It was really cool. I loved that they had all of that preserved. They had an incredible monument there at Kitty Hawk.
That thing was wild.
And the idea of like when you really think about it, like just the moment where flight first took place, like that's major.
Well, controlled flight, because it's not glider. That was one thing I thought
controlled
when we were there. Didn't go that far, Wright brothers, at the first go.
In fact,
it seems like you could have jumped from one spot to the next.
In fact, Eric beat their 60-second run by running. And I just wanted to briefly tell that story because we bet him he couldn't do it. Yeah. We videotaped it. We do have a video up on our Facebook.
Let me just set this in a little bit here. So they had their first. This is where they did their first flight, and they had 4 kind of markers. Like the very first one was not that far, and then the last one I think was like, I don't remember exactly how many feet.
60 seconds.
It took them about 60 seconds to reach this certain amount of distance. And then we joked that like, oh, I could run that, and I could run that faster than they flew it. And so go ahead.
Yes, and so
and he proved it.
Yeah, and we recorded a video of it. So check it out on Facebook. He smoked the Wright brothers. So take that.
Take that, Wright brothers.
Take that, Wright brothers.
In your graves.
Yeah, I hope you're sitting in your grave. What do they say? Turning it over in your grave.
Yeah.
Is this person who's at one point drinking piss and pee?
Yep.
Beat your record.
Our takeaway from Kitty Hawk is that the Wright brothers a little bit bitch made.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I would say that like planes now way faster. What was your deal?
That's a good thing.
Not being a fighter jet.
yeah. What's up with that, Wright brothers?
No, but my favorite thing, I was gonna say my favorite thing about you running though was you started an entire trend. Nobody was doing that. And then you did it, and we see this other guy who appears to be either by himself or with friends, but he's another single guy. He's
Eric heard him too. Heard him and his girlfriend interacting. And he goes, well, he did it. And then he started doing it.
So this guy does it. And we're kind of laughing. We're like, look at that. You got some other guy to do it. But he's still, if you're talking about, social cues, social interactions, still just a guy.
Yeah.
Then you had a mom doing it with her kid. And then we see her walking back. She's like, let's see if mommy can run it. And we just had multiple people. We had families running this thing.
He definitely started the Wright brothers trend.
I couldn't get the Charleston shower going, but this one I could. I think the thing about them was, for me, that was cool about it. And again, I'd see, and it's funny, Tyler actually, my mom sent me some photos because I have some pictures of me at Colonial Williamsburg, and Tyler saw a photo of a young me at the Wright brothers place as well. But like, it is cool. Like, they weren't working for the government. And these guys, my Lord, I mean, they were literally like brothers. They kind of grew up in, middle class, I guess, or maybe even working class, I guess you could say. I don't know. But like,
they owned a bike shop.
Business owners.
Yeah.
Small business owners.
But sure. But they were like doing that and then rushing down here when the season was right, and sleeping in this like kind of hangar where they have like just bunk beds hanging from the roof.
Yeah, just watching birds and jumping off shit.
Right. And trying to make this happen. And it took them years. And I know it's crazy. Good for them.
Yeah, they did it. They did do it.
Having said that, they have one of the biggest personal monuments I've ever seen.
Huge.
Massive on a huge, not just up on a huge hill, but a massive monument to these guys. And I'm not saying it's not worthy, but it is funny. Like, I feel flight in the end is very big, and maybe then it's worth it. But it's funny because you feel like your fault would be someone must have done more and gotten less.
Yeah.
But on the same hand, I don't know.
Flight's a pretty big thing.
Right.
Yeah. Like for human beings as a whole.
Right. Maybe if we had the guy who started fire, I guess. I don't know who the exact guy was.
Yeah, I mean, before that, imagine having to go over to like Europe or something. Like
on a steamboat, dude.
Well, and think about like if you were to lay it out what the next progression is, it would either be, I would imagine, teleportation.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, like regular manned space flights with regular people on them.
Like we're George Jetsing it. We're like,
through the air.
No, you're right. I mean, yes, obviously they didn't invent the 747 that we fly, and whatnot that we fly.
Yeah.
But you're right. As far as the actual being the first thing of something, there hasn't been much that's been not war related. Almost, you know what I mean.
It would be, the perfect analogy would be like if this happened nowadays, it would be like a guy teleported himself 2 feet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Which would be fucking nuts.
Yeah, right.
To be fair. And that would be next level.
Right.
And you better get a big ass monument for you if you're teleporting.
I agree. If we're gonna be able to Star Trek it, beam me down, Scotty, and shit. So there we went to another place, and this was just by chance because I have these hookups with a very good family friend that has been helping us out a lot and getting us nice places to stay, which the Kennedys, for anyone knows them, we really appreciate that. And stuff like that. And so we ended up in Williamsburg, Virginia. And it's interesting because when I brought up to Amy, for example, she had never heard of Colonial Williamsburg. I thought it was I think people have heard of it. I don't think it's just nothing. It's pretty big. But we got really lucky in that I was telling them, like, I'd been to Colonial Williamsburg as a kid, and I really thought, like, it was, like, this area, you know, like an amusement park almost. Like, they just took an area and said, hey, this is what it kind of looked like.
Yeah.
And there would be walls around it, and I went on a morning run the one day, and I'm like, damn, this looks like it to me. And there's the people walking around in the clothes and shit, like the old-timey clothes. And so we looked into it, and like, you need a ticket to go into the exhibits, kind of, but you can walk around the Colonial Williamsburg.
I mean, you really don't, like, you can walk everywhere, get some of those lectures by just standing by a door fence.
Or a fence or a door.
Yeah, without any of those tickets. Just
it makes it easier because you
can fully go in some of the places.
And most of us, like, you feel a little weird, probably. Like, even if it's outside, you kind of know, what if they fucking say something? But you're right, you can do it.
I didn't feel weird. I stood outside.
I know how you.
Yeah. Scott,
you're not a normal person.
Yeah, that's true. It's not the norm.
You're not a normal.
Scott broke into a home.
Right.
I did.
There are Tyler said this the other day, and he's right. You have some things that you do that you just try to pretend are the normal, and it's fine that you do them. I actually am jealous that I wish I could, like, honestly, if some guy was sitting there doing that chopping display, this guy was doing a display about chopping wood for houses or whatnot.
Yep.
I wish. And I have my own weirdnesses where we talked about on the Road Life episode, where I kind of walk around in a very Kramer-esque life, but when it comes to things like that, I'm very self-conscious knowing I didn't pay. Yeah. And my point is, I'm not saying it's wrong that you don't feel that way, but don't pretend that's normal. Most people would feel a little weird.
Like I shouldn't be here. And Scott's like, no, I should be here, and you should speak up. I can't hear you from over here.
Is that why you guys found? Because I wanted to stand and watch that wood chopping thing for a minute. You guys started.
No, yes, that's exactly what it was.
That's exactly what it was. I mean, when you went in the printing shop, I was still like, why is he standing right up front? Why is he asking questions? Why is he saying a goddamn thing? He doesn't have a little badge.
and it didn't bother as much because there wasn't a sign out there that said no tickets.
Yeah.
Or it said tickets needed. So it didn't bother me as much, and the guy didn't seem to care.
Yeah.
So once the conversation was on, I felt like, okay, if he wanted to say something, he would have said something.
Yeah.
And Scott was right. And even when Scott asked the lady earlier, she said shops and restaurants are open. My guess, honestly, still is with this dude, he was selling things that he was printing, so maybe you were allowed to be in there. Yeah. I don't know.
What are they going to do with Simpsons ask, hey, they're trying to learn for free?
Well, that's why at all the other ones, they have people at the doors.
I feel like, yes, they do have. They have... What are they? Bouncers for learning,
right? Which is hilarious. It's the funniest bouncer you'll ever meet because they're dressed there with a tri-corner hat on and like
ye old need to go.
You have ye old pass. I mean,
yeah. You have your papers, sir. Papers,
but it was kind of cool for me. Because like I said, as a kid, I just had no recollection. I thought we walked through some big gate, and we were able to just walk around. And I said for these two, none of us, we all had disagreements also on whether it was worth the money it was worth. That doesn't irrelevant to me. But my point is, like, in a world I would fucking pay for it, someone might not. But I still think it's a cool thing to say that you guys, if someone mentions Colonial Williamsburg, you have a map of it.
It was pretty cool to check out. Those buildings were pretty awesome. Even we got to see some demonstrations. We got to see a musket fire. Yeah. We got to see that guy cry about his papers, his printing press, whatever. And then there was something else we saw. I mean, just the whole town.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the thing is, in the end, it's kind of crazy because people also live in this town. Yeah. And it is basically the original town. It's right up next to William and Mary, which is the second oldest college in America. And so I get the impression that this is where it was. This is where Williamsburg was. Oh, was there glass blowing? No, there might be, dude. Honestly, I don't know. They do things like they do churning the butter and shit like that.
Yeah. And there were a lot of places we weren't allowed in.
There were quarantined off areas. Yeah. I'm sure cool shit was happening.
Right. I mean, I know when I went as a kid, I did a thing where they did you went into a backyard. They showed you some of the little games kids would play, and we played little. Hoop with a stick or whatever.
Yeah. And I feel like this would be a good crossover moment to just say, we do have our Road Life series, which we started. In our first episode, we talk about times where we have had issues with people in public at all. And in that, I tell a story about doing a breaking and entering at Colonial Williamsburg,
which we're gonna say.
So come and check that out if you want. Go to the Road Life episode if you want to hear that.
Yeah, if you want to hear it, you gotta go listen. We're not gonna give you.
No spoilers.
We already don't ask for money, although we will. And no, we already don't demand money.
Yeah,
but at least go for it. At least go listen to it. So that was there's more. So Colonial Williams was kind of weird. It was kind of rainy. That's why it was so cool. Luckily, again, to Mr. Kennedy, because like the location, the reason really we were able to do Colonial Williamsburg was because we was in walking distance. And so we had a few things going on, and we did some episodes and whatnot. And then I had a weird day on St. Patrick's Day because the Michigan basketball game was going on. Plus, we had to do the road episode. Plus, my inner drunk wanted to go out for St. Patrick's Day. And I'll admit that Scott had to kind of, poke the bear a little bit because I was being a little like, guys, I'm tired. I'm worn out and whatever. We drank we got a little tipsy one of our nights in Outer Banks. I was, and anytime these days, guys, I know it shows my age, but like anytime I realize we have to be in the car next day, it used to be like in my life, oh, that'd be great. Good time to not feel great.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, no, I don't want to spend 3 hours in the car the next day feeling crappy. But anyway, me and Scott went out and we started to realize like, dude, there's nobody really around. Why are we walking around a college campus and not seeing anybody?
There, not even just that. There were no St. Patrick's Day decorations.
Right, exactly. And I started looking at
that. Seems insane. And I didn't go. I was doing art, and I was like, if anything good happens, tell me.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to deal with it.
No, and it worked out. And I started thinking to myself, like, dude, I've been running. I was going on jogs every morning through the campus because I like running, and it's a cool area. I'm like, I haven't seen any students when I've been running. That seems odd. Weird, and then I looked into the thing like spring break. And so they were on spring break, it turns out. So, and there was nothing going on for St. Patrick's Day. Now, maybe they did the weekend here. I don't know. Maybe this was one of the people that they celebrated on the Saturday before. Don't know. They had a few bars. I looked on their Facebook page even that claimed we have, green beer, but it was like, dude, open till 9. None of them. There was one bar that was open till 2 a.m. and it was nothing special.
We're walking around on St. Patrick's Day and there's one place with a single woman playing guitar. And it was the only live music that was anywhere. And there's nobody outside. It's just her playing to the wind.
And I still almost stayed because I have such a love for live music and beer. And I didn't because in the end, this trip is quite long. Money is it's not like there's no option. So like, let's save it. And speaking of the money, what a time to mention our Venmo account. My name is Eric. Our Venmo account is my name, Eric Fady, ERIC, F as in Frank, ADIE. That's Cash App as well. You can text me 248-935-9241 or get us at any of the social medias if you want to give us money. But for some reason, you don't have those two things. Do remember that Tyler sells his art and Scott sells his tarot card readings as well. All ways to donate to our little journey here. But so in the end, we kind of decided we tried. Go ahead if you want to. I don't know if you want to say more about that.
No,
it didn't happen. Nothing. They came home early.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing.
And honestly, in the end, I gotta be honest. I know again, old man kind of thing here. I was kind of relieved. I was ready to go. Scott got me out, but when we got back, I was like, dude, honestly, I have. Look, it is what it is. I do a lot of stuff in the day of getting ready for things. We didn't have a hotel lined up for the next day yet, which gives me anxiety a lot of times. And so in the end, I felt glad, although we would have done something. Yeah. So that leads us to, we ended up finding a really cool Airbnb, and we didn't do much to it. We knew we had a few big days coming up, and so we kind of just took the time, and it ended up being a cool place to do that because it was a very unique Airbnb in that it had. You could do kayaks, and they had like a bonfire pit, and it was all down by this nice little creek, not a river, by the way, not a lake and not a river, a creek, as mentioned in her paper.
That's a creek? It seemed like a river to me.
She said the difference, I think, is because it's connected to the Potomac River, which also the Potomac River is connected to the Atlantic Ocean. So technically, we could have taken these bad lads out to the ocean, but I think that's why it's a creek versus a river.
Fair enough.
And so there could be an argument for maybe it just being a giant lazy river.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, me and Scott were getting just like lazy rivered around that thing because of the wind.
And it was in a circle.
You're right. And but you could have gone for there was other places to go. But I will say, you're right. That island, if you went around the island, it is kind of like a lazy river. Mm-hmm. Also, if you want to go to our Two Hippies, One Drunk Facebook page, there's a video of me to take Fady getting into a kayak, which in the end I actually
the second time he did it.
I did it. And
there's also a video of the first time when you didn't,
which is way more entertaining.
Yes.
And you should go look back. I know that's a while. You got to scroll down a little bit, but it's worth it. I promise. So we did some kayaking and
yeah, no, it was beautiful. We saw a bunch of, me and Eric at least saw a ton of animals. We saw 2 turtles, like a couple of like hawks, a ton of cranes.
Yeah, I was promised a lot of
bats.
animals. They didn't show.
Yeah, it got real windy when Scott went out. It's, it's your fault for going out later.
Exactly. No, I don't know. Very cool though. Like, what a cool thing. Like, and these people, and I still have to write my review, but these people at the Airbnb, and honestly, we haven't had a bad experience with Airbnbs. We've been really lucky on this trip. But like, very cool. Just really had it all. Everything thought of, even to the point of like some little water, flavored water drinks in the thing, and like coffee.
I mean, the kayaks were free. Like the whole backyard was pretty much ours. We got to have a fire. Like,
yeah, they had a little bonfire thing. Took us a little while to get it going, but they had it.
A little while, yeah.
Right?
Pretty much the whole time the fire was going, we were trying to get it going.
Right, exactly. But still, like, and I don't know how these things work, but I mean, I feel like sometimes people don't necessarily charge for these things, but still, it's still what a cool option, and it was really in this nice little area in Virginia.
Yeah.
So, did you have anything else to say, Scott?
Nope.
Okay, and then we're gonna move on to really, we'll talk about the Skyline Drive a little bit, and then we'll get into the main, what will be the plateau, I guess, of the episode. Wouldn't
it be the peak?
Oh yeah,
yeah, not the plateau.
Anyway, no, you're right.
The peak of this episode
you're
coming
right.
up in a minute.
Were you even paying attention during this Skyline Drive, Eric?
No, I guess right. Yeah, good point. I don't know why I said something wrong. I'm not, believe it or not, I am not perfect. I know that will ruin a lot. That's gonna blow a lot of minds, but I fuck up once in a while. That's why I'm 2 take Fady. Anyway, no, but here imagine if I had to do 2 takes, literally everything I did. Like
do
everything.
Podcast go all the way through 30 minutes and like,
right.
no, can we do it again, guys?
Just oops on the first take, I drove off at the Skyline.
Yeah, let me do that again.
Right. So we had a situation where we had some time to kill. And there was this really we only did a fourth of it. They have it's a whole 100 miles. We did about 33 miles or something like that of what's called the Skyline Drive in Virginia. Very beautiful, very cool.
No, it was gorgeous. Honestly, one of the coolest drives I've ever done.
Yeah. We met a man who looked, sounded, and acted all like Zach Galifianakis.
Successful.
May have been Zach Galifianakis,
I would say,
for all we know.
Well, here's the thing. Zach Galifianakis is successful. He looked and acted like a successful, what is it? I don't know his name in the movie. The Hangover version of Zach. He did not look to me like, yes, he looked like Zach Galifianakis.
Not like actually him in public.
But very
like
specifically, it looked like him in The Hangover.
Yeah.
He kind of had the tight shirt, the pants, even how you said the lisp and how he kind of even talked a little bit. And by the way, if he's listening, because he seemed like a dude who was pretty up on this stuff, and we did hook him up. I think his name was Tim or Tom. Dude, we just for whatever it's worth, we loved you. You were awesome. We enjoyed you. So this is not making fun of you. If you're watching, I hope you don't take it that way. But for whatever it's worth, it was hilarious. He literally sounded like him. He even at one point did this thing where he's like, "Yep, left the job 12 years ago." Yeah. And just how he said it, I swear to God, if you'd been turned around, I think you would have thought you were talking to Zach Galifianakis.
No, I was saying too, like one of his Zach Galifianakis moments is he was like, "Hey, like maybe you can be on my YouTube channel at some point. Don't do anything vile on there. If you guys do anything vile for your comedy, I don't mind, but we don't do vile comedy." It was just like, it was such a weird,
right?
Like,
I agree,
phrasing choice.
And it was such a and we talked to him a lot because in the end he had a very rather successful YouTube channel that he does, and
he lives off of the money he makes. Yeah.
Right, and he writes books and stuff like that.
And he's a van lifer too.
Like really cool.
And the successful Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover would be.
Yes. Right. No. He is a successful. God, I wish I remember what his name in that movie was, but he was a successful version. Because I know you could say he was any kind of that. To me, he absolutely struck out as the one from The Hangover, just successful.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we kept on this path, and it was really dope. Anyone that's ever driven this before knows what we're talking about. Really cool scenery. You get up there about 3,000, almost 3,000 feet up at times. On peaks of some hills in the Smokies. Yeah,
there's a forest fire going on that we got to see. That was pretty wild.
Right, for sure, which was actually pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh, I thought Tom was going to say something. So we did that in the day. We did that in the daytime, and it still bugged me.
Yeah, no. Shut the fuck up or say something.
Right. If you're going to lean in, I don't care what it's for, but say something. But no, you know what it is? From when I look at this, if you just make the most minor, like look like you're leaning in, I think, oh. Anyway, so
no, and I am constantly jacked up on caffeine and making little micro expressions.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm always exactly. And so, anyway. So we checked it. We went to our nice KOA again, which we're going to start frequently using, as they say we've not been disappointed by one yet. And we had quite an evening in Charlottesville, Virginia. We did some comedy for the first time in a while. That went kind of okay. You know, we all did pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to say the two big things after that. We was on the search for some weed. And I'm going to let these guys talk about that. Their little adventure.
I've been out of weed. I was out of weed for like 3 days. A lot of, all the reasons I went home and all that stuff. So I've been stressed. I've wanted that stuff. It's been a long time since I've gone, honestly, a day without weed. And it had been 2.5 to 3 days or something along those lines. And I was like, Scott, please, like, we're at this comedy show. That guy said he smokes weed. Find me some weed.
Yeah.
And he went on an adventure.
And it's funny, like, we all rely on each other for a lot of stuff on this trip because it's the three of us and we all have our different little systems and stuff and we all have our roles. And as was mentioned earlier, in certain respects, I don't have any shame and I have no problem
straight up
doing some things that might make other people uncomfortable.
Yeah. Which is cool with me when it comes to that.
So it took a couple of people. Tried talking to the guy who ran the show. He directed me to somebody else. There was a lot of like, we'll
like,
be in the area.
And honestly, I was like,
boy.
When I had waited like 15 minutes after you would talk to the guy, I thought that it was like, I'm not getting any weed. This is just a fucking run around. I'm never getting weed tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those, when you put out feelers for drugs and stuff like that, you start to get the feeling where you're like, there's like a 10% chance this will happen. Mm-hmm. It might, but they're saying, hey, I'm going to go to another bar. I might see a guy I know. Let me like take your number down. And that's usually like not going to be successful. So then we went outside and there was a couple of people
smelled it. Yeah.
Smoking weed. Tyler smelled it. And I'm like, you want me to go talk to them? And he's like, sure. So I walk up to this group of people, and it was so disappointing because they blew it so far out of proportion when I walked up there. Like, because I came up, I'm like, hey, we're traveling comics. My buddy is really looking for weed. Kind of smell it over here, whatever. And they're immediately, like, one of the girls who's smoking is like, wow, you came up so confident. That was so awesome. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help your buddy out. Tyler can see the conversation's going positive. He comes over and she's like, you better thank your boy, man. He's about to get you hooked up. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're like, yes, this is awesome. And then she hands
like
you
the tiniest little Coke bag,
filled
with like I'm not complaining because I would have smoked that night and I would have been very happy about smoking that. And thank you for the offer. It was amazing
and it was
that you
free.
even did that, and it was free. So no complaints. Thank you.
And I enjoyed the compliments.
Great. Yes, but it wasn't like I'm gonna be smoking. I'm not gonna have something for a little while.
I think a half a gram might have even been an exaggeration. I said a half a gram.
Like I said, it's like a bag this size.
Beggars can't be choosers.
And bottom of it filled with weed. I'm just saying
1 to 2 bowls. 1 to 2 bowls.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot to me.
Doesn't it's not.
So then we left there. We were a little bit like, oh, well, damn it, or whatever. We walk up to the bar and we smell some more weed. There's people over, but these people they're more upper class. They're sitting in a restaurant, outside a restaurant patio and stuff. They're eating. And I'm like, do you want me to talk to them? And Tyler's like, no, don't bother those people. So we go inside of the bar and I'm kind of, he goes to the bathroom and I'm kind of standing around. I'm like, do I want to get a beer or what? And I see those people outside. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Worst case scenario, I go and talk to them and I embarrass myself and just nobody knows about this.
Nobody knows I'm going over there.
Yes. Yeah. And so I walked up and I talked to them and there ended up being a guy there who saw us do comedy earlier.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, how much do you want to buy? Which is the best thing you want to fucking hear.
All of it. Whatever you have. I will buy it all.
So I ran out and got Tyler and he got himself $60 worth of weed.
Yes. And we went back to the car, which we at that point should have put some more money in the meter. Is
Yeah.
what I would say.
Yeah, we went back to the car, which
Oh
was
my
still
God.
present at the location.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Yeah, why would I say that? We should have though.
Let me say, so then they get their weed. So like, I'll say this: we had a place where we had to park for comedy. I'm not this guy usually. I am type A about this stuff, man. So I put 2 hours in, didn't know how long the show was going to go. Even though I knew I had some friends coming, didn't know how long that was going to go. We went out at one point during the show. I thought I should put another hour in. And it did say on the thing, strict enforcement, blah, blah, blah. And you see that everywhere. And the thing is, I will say some bullshit. I spent $9 parking for a Monday night when a parking lot was empty. Rearrange their fucking fares. $9 should be enough for the fucking night. For one. Two, so anyway, so there's that. I'll say the two first. Save the two for a second. So we're all excited. We had a really fun night. We ended up going out to the bar with some buddies of mine that came out to the show. They brought a lot of friends, which was nice. Yeah. We went out to another bar. We're having beers. They got the weed. We're all happy. And we turn the corner, and I'm like, Van's not there, dude.
No,
and I saw him from quite a ways away.
I saw it like first because I was ahead of everybody else.
Because I was behind both of you, and I saw Tyler.
And I was like, look at, I was like, oh god, no. Maybe, my stomach dropped. And
but I think I said it, didn't I?
You did say it first.
Okay.
I didn't want to say it to you.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I think the van's gone.
No, okay, I got
like, I popped around and I had the keys on me, so I started trying to click the thing, and it wasn't making the sound. And then I hear Eric, it's not there. Is the fan fucking not there?
What was the goal of clicking the key? Was it like, oh my god, I hope I forgot I took Wonder Woman's jet here?
No, I was saying because the angle I saw the parking lot at, it kind of looked like there was a vehicle in front. So I was exactly. So I was like, maybe it's behind that vehicle and I just can't see it. But no, it was towed.
No,
got our car.
Here's the thing, and it took me until doing the show with Amy on Tuesday. That we usually do, that we sometimes do on Monday about the Biggie Comedy Venture, by the way. But anyway, I admit, yes, I technically stayed past the time, even though I think it's bullshit, by the way, because I think $9 should be enough for fucking a night on Monday. But whatever, I went over the time. Can't we get a fucking parking ticket up in here, dude?
Yeah.
Seriously, dude. No. A tow job?
Yeah.
You tow a car for parking?
My mom said the same thing when I told her, like, why didn't you guys get a ticket?
Why? You want to fucking, okay, the car's there overnight? Yes. Tow it away, dude. I get it. I not really, because you can just keep adding the paying tickets, the parking tickets, but whatever. You want to leave it overnight? Okay. Yes, we were an hour and probably 15 minutes past our pay time. I don't even mind paying a fine for that. Honestly, $50 parking ticket, whatever. But dude, to tow the car, what bullshit.
Yeah.
And I just want to really quick, we'll get right back to this. But somebody said you look like a young Kenny Rogers, Eric, which is actually pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So there was
nice.
Yeah.
Gotta know when to hold them. Know when to fold them.
See what you did, commenter?
Yeah, look what you did.
Know when to rock away. Know when to run. This is all your fault.
Thank you, Donald.
I wasn't going to reference it, by the way, and you guys did, and that's on you as well.
And the cat's in the cradle, and we're moving on.
It's not a Kenny Rogers song.
Is it not?
No.
Oh, damn it.
Anyway.
And the silver spoon.
Anyway, towed car is bullshit to get towed. And so I'll say this, I've never been more, I don't even know if it was passively aggressive. I'm not a confrontational person. On this trip, I've had a few boundaries that I've never done. The Days Inn in fucking Fort Worth, where I was talking about the breakfasts, and he said he didn't have any more. I go, I don't believe you. And I walked away. And then this guy, we show up there at midnight, a little after midnight. Thank God for my friends, by the way, that did come out. If they hadn't come out, now, having said that, if they hadn't come out, we probably would have already been in the car. But nonetheless, that's neither here nor there. With them coming there, so you could blame them in a way. But with
could
them,
you? Could you though?
Well, I'm saying if they hadn't come out, we would have already left the bar by then.
That's true, but you can't really blame them.
There's a butterfly effect, and I blame them.
You can't blame them.
No, I'm kidding. But luckily for them, they grow, or not luckily for them, nicely of them, and lucky for us, they drove us to the car.
Unluckily,
dude. One of the funniest things too, like you're glossing over, is Eric drunk and angry. So he one of the funniest things he did. It was so petty and like just drunk and angry. Fuck you, dude. Because there was a guy with the people that were with his friends that came over and was like, hey, there's actually a free parking lot over there. And he starts cackling like sarcastically.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you should have done the comedy show.
I forgot about that.
Like, and the guy just like shut up and just like,
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was just
so funny to me though, because you're like, maybe you should have done the comedy show.
I was not in a good place.
No,
and
it's fair. That is understandable.
And when we got to this lonely, I assume never married, never had a girlfriend, fat piece of shit.
Oh yeah,
who's towing cars at this time of the night. We get there. I never said a word to him during the exchange. It was just. He knew why we were there because we had called ahead of time, threw my credit card on the table. He went in and did his little thing. And I've never like given a worse like signature. Like I didn't say a word to the dude. I just threw the card down. Shh. He went back over here. I didn't say anything to him. You guys, I think one of you guys saw
I was Scott definitely you fat fuck. Fucking
well, I was like, I bet you this, because we were looking for a Taco Bell, and I was like, I bet you this fat ass knows where the Taco Bell is.
Yeah,
oh, that's probably fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair comment.
He definitely does.
And so that was $150 fucking dollars. Remember that Venmo account, ladies and gentlemen. Eric Fady, ERIC FADIE. I'm just kidding. You know what? It is what it is. It's a good story to tell. And that.
Yeah, we got a car towed.
And that lonely piece of shit, I guess, got some money to pay for his, I'm assuming, disturbing level of porn that he actually pays for somehow still in 2022.
That guy watches a disturbing
and he
amount
pays
of
for it stupidly enough.
Disturbing porn.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yeah. Nobody likes him.
Yeah. No. This man, he's still on magazine porn.
Yeah.
Exactly. For some reason. So
bought a box of it.
I guess that will be it on the road this week. We'll be after this. We'll be heading to my buddy Kennedy's. But this time the son of the hookup in Charlotte, and there'll be that, and we're doing a lot of comedy next week, luckily. So for some reason, anybody we know lives in Charlotte, we'll be doing comedy in Charlotte next week. And that's it. Does anyone have any final thoughts for this episode?
Fuck that. If you're a tow truck driver, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Go to hell.
Die.
Eat shit.
Agreed.
All right.
Dun, dun, dun.